Welcome to another Obsidian Extra Lives. I'm your host, player support specialist Chris Stanick, and I'm joined today by Amy. Oh man, I knew we just talked about it too, and I do this every time. Hold on. Well, I'm gonna do both.
Yeah.
Maitre and Met. Met. Just met?
Yeah, like I met you.
Oh, okay. I thought I was trying to be all fancy, like
No.
Met, like Met.
Yeah.
Amy is a technical animator intern, and she will be joining us today playing Card Shark while we help to raise money for the Children's Hospital of Orange County through Extra Life. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself before we jump into the game?
Yeah, so I am a technical animator here at Obsidian Entertainment. I am an intern. I'm working on the Project Avowed. Been here for about 2.5 months. I think it might be coming on 3, not sure. But yeah, it's been really fun coming out here. I'm actually from Orlando, Florida, so it's been like a completely 180 in terms of climate and everything. So, but it's been really nice overall though.
Yeah, you went to super humid to ultra dry.
Yeah, I thought I drank a lot of water until I got here and realized I needed to double up on my the amount of water I drink.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Do you have a drink already?
Yeah,
okay,
right
good.
here.
I've got one down here. So what about Card Shark why'd you want to play Card Shark today?
Okay, so there's a streamer that I watch that my boyfriend introduced me to. His name is Coney. And he played Card Shark and didn't know this game existed till he played it, and watching him play it was super interesting because I didn't know that there was a whole game about card and deceit and cheating and stuff. And also the art style was very intriguing, and I've never seen, even if there are games out there that do this kind of art style, I personally have never seen a game do this art style. So that also caught my attention and just kind of made the game overall more interesting.
Okay, cool. All right, Zero donated $10. So that would be a Bean Boozled. We're already starting off with the Bean Boozled. Thanks, Zero.
Okay.
Have a bit of spice in your life. Thank you, Zero.
Alrighty. I guess I should do the little spinner.
Yeah, let's do the spinner. Let's see
what I get. Oh, the spinner is
rigged.
Horrible.
Let's pop it out, maybe.
Yeah.
All right, here, give it a. There you go.
There you go.
Carolina Reaper. That's for me. Hooray. The dark red one.
Okay.
I think so. No, that's Cayenne. I'll keep that one over here. And I'll grab this one.
Okay, and then. Oh my God, this spinner is. Okay, we'll do that.
Sriracha. Thank you for the donation, Zero. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's heat.
It is spicy.
Yeah. You're a technical animator here.
Yes.
What is a technical animator?
Okay, so the best way I can describe, so there's I feel like technical animator comes under the umbrella of tech artist.
Okay.
And so it's kind of you're merging tech and art together. Specifically, a tech animator would do more of the tools and creating systems as well as rigging for the animator. So for those who don't know what rigging is basically creating the inner skeleton of characters and making that system work so that when animators take a model, they could animate the model and everything. You don't see the rigs because they're hidden, right? But it's kind of if you think of ourselves, we have our skeleton on the inside that helps us move and whatnot. That's kind of what we do on a technical standpoint. And yeah, so a technical animator combines that, but it also is creating tools as well. And sometimes you're in engine working on stuff, so you're not just solely creating rigs.
Okay. So what you're doing is the rig and the skeleton is there's pieces and there's points of movement where things can move, and then everything else comes on. And then that's the thing the animator works with then to keep.
Yeah.
So what kind of tools you're making? Because I thought maybe it was more just rigging and maybe smaller animations, not characters, or maybe a creature or something, or a idle animation.
Oh, are you asking me
I did. So what kind of tools?
Tools. So us specifically at our internship, we haven't made specifically any tools for it to be in use. So our task so far has been skinning.
Okay.
But like of the tools that they've showed us like there's like a mocap tool just to kind of help facilitate mocapping and like helping with like cleaning up the animations and whatnot. And I know that like one of the leads showed us that there's like this program on the side that you can kind of just create your own type of UI and like menu system and kind of import that into Maya and basically make a tool but like drag and drop windows and then open that big window in Maya and then just have like a little custom menu on the inside with like whatever like buttons that you would need to like do something. But in terms of like the closest thing to tools that we've done, like I didn't have any experience with Python, maybe just like a little, but I could never make like a script on my own. I actually was able to make my very first script here.
Congratulations.
So yeah, so I actually have like a button in Maya that basically does like FK controls. And for those who don't know what FK is, it's basically like the basic like moving, it's forward kinematics. So it's like you would move your shoulder, then your elbow, then your wrist. And in inverse is you would move your wrist and it would move everything else. So I have a script that basically makes all the controllers for the forward kinematics.
Oh, very cool. So I was gonna ask about like what got you into animation, and then be like, oh, is it like a certain animated show or something? But I feel like the animation you're doing is different. But what did get you into this, or and wanting to work in the industry in general?
So I'm like many of us. I grew up watching Disney films, Pixar. Also like Japanese animated films, so Hayao Miyazaki for Studio Ghibli. Then also like from Madhouse Animation. Just in general, just a lot of animated shows, like so anime and then just movies, right?
Have you ever seen Akira?
Yeah, I have. Good. Yes, I have.
I just feel like everybody, if you like anime or something, you should watch that, because that motorcycle scene, especially in the beginning, is like iconic, and they were doing that stuff when Disney was like barely doing 30 or whatever, right? It's just like so buttery smooth.
Yeah, so it's just basically like that. I don't know how to explain it, and I'm sure like people who are into animation probably know what I'm trying to get at, but it's kind of, you go outside and you see like grass moving in the wind, and it's just like you don't think about it like, oh yeah, the wind's pushing it, and it's like that's how it's moving, whatever. But like, how do you, like the fact that you can do that with drawings or like going into an engine and like 3D modeling that and like animating it as if there's wind but there's not wind, you know, like that just like intrigued me a lot. I'm like, how do you do that? How do you make it look like it's real? So yeah, that got me into animation. And then I found out that there was like a more technical side to animation when I went to college, and I kind of found myself more interested in that rather than the animation. Like I still have love for animation, but I like love puzzles. I love problem solving, and so like rigging is basically that. Okay,
very cool. So when you were in school for animation, did you start with like more traditional 2D animation?
No, actually. So I like drawing a lot. I wanted to bet more, but I guess you can't raise the bet. So I guess we're betting 10. So I used to draw like on my like free time when I was like younger. A king is like higher than a queen, right?
Yes.
Okay. But then I kind of like, oh, I'm going the no.
I forgot what it was.
Okay, this way. No.
Why
this way. Okay.
I love how it's like he's like, oh God, which was it?
Yeah, so I used to draw a lot when I was younger, and I didn't have experience with 2D animation actually. I just kind of just jumped into 3D.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, it was just something about 3D models just looked cool. And though I like animation, I guess like maybe I preferred 3D over 2D, but like both are still amazing though. You got in, you found your love of animation through mostly anime, I guess, and other shows and things like that. You went to school. Is this the first work in animation that you've done? Not, not first. I did like a local, like I had a contract locally in Orlando for a company called 302 Interactive, and I did rigging and animation there. So I can consider that my first. It is an indie studio, so this like here at Obsidian would probably be my first big studio. Okay. And how has the internship been going? Like, do you feel like you've learned a lot and had opportunities to do things? And yeah, definitely. I've been learning a lot. Like I said, like I didn't really know Python. Like I was familiar with it, like the syntax and whatnot, but I've never created my own script. So definitely having that pressure of like having to learn something under a time constraint because you need to get something done, right?
Yeah.
That pushed me and made me realize, like, the whole cliche, like, you can do anything if you set your mind to it.
Yeah.
Like, it actually is, it does
for
work.
For the most part,
yeah.
it is pretty good. So would you say your Python script, and I'm trying not, is that like your biggest accomplishment, like, since you started? Because, like,
yeah, I think so, because the other task that we have had is been skinning, and so I think in terms of, like, skinning, and for those who don't know, skinning is basically coloring values to each individual vertices on, like, the models, if you've ever seen, like, the vertices on a model or the wireframe.
So let's just say, like, a stick figure, and then these points are the vertices.
Basically,
like,
yeah.
Like, these are my, where am I? Yeah, vertices. I'm looking at this thing.
Good for you. Yeah, so it's like skinning is like typical. I've done it before, so I mean, like, with that, like, I think I'm getting quicker and having more of a trained eye for it. But definitely, I think the creating a script has been my biggest accomplishment, because I came in with no scripting knowledge, and I get to leave knowing how to automate things, and I'm probably going to want to automate more things. So
yeah, do you think because you're in technical animation that, like, you would want to go to programming or more of that, or you like the little bit of both because you get to use your creative side with the rigging and things like that, and then your puzzly brain side with the programming, with the scripting and stuff? Yeah,
so, like, I like the world of both, because, like, I got here because I was into, like, the artsy part of, like, animation and stuff, but then I also like problem solving, right, and puzzles and whatnot. So I think tech art in general just is like a great weld between the two.
Okay.
So definitely probably dive more into, like, coding and whatnot for sure, but I still want to be able to, like, be a little close to the animation side.
Tank says, what sort of things do you prefer to animate? Human, characters, creatures, environmental assets? So,
have I done an animal before? I don't think I've ever animated an animal. I probably would want to get my hands on animating an animal, but I've done, like, creatures before, and I think creatures are more interesting than just, like, your regular bipedal human, because, like, creatures, you just have more variety with it. So definitely creatures so far have been my favorite to rig and, like, to animate, as, like, in the past, like, I did do some animations before, but definitely would like to animate a cat or something, or make a cat rig, because I've, like, Stray, like, I haven't played Stray, but, like, I, like, look at that cat and I'm like, I wish I was the one that, like, rigged it.
That is very much a cat.
Yeah.
It looks really good too. What was your first experience playing video games?
It was actually just, so I'm an only child. I was babysat by a lot of, like, family friends. So my godmother, my mom would drop me off there all the time, like, while she was at work, especially during, like summer break and whatnot. So my, like, her children, I just call them my god siblings, okay, ace of clubs. They had, like, N64, they had GameCubes, they had PlayStations and whatnot, PSP, and they just, like, played games. And I was just, I was there. I think it's this. I was there to watch.
You're really good at this for, I think it's this.
Yeah, I think it's this. Ace. I forgot.
This little bar was going up. I was like, oh no.
Yeah. And
someone's gonna get shot again.
Like, I don't know if you have, like, siblings, like, older siblings, but I was treated like I was, like, the youngest, right? So it was always, you can't touch my game. You can watch, though. So I grew up watching, which is probably why I like watching Let's Players and watching streams and YouTubers, because I grew up watching people play games.
Literally doing that already.
And then once I got old enough and I could ask my mom for, like, a DS, like, Mom, can you give me a DS? Like, yeah, that's kind of how it started. Spades Ace. And yeah, and ever since then, I've only ever owned Nintendo consoles.
Okay.
Because I guess I aligned more with Nintendo games, and also I was not going to ask my mom for more than one system, so that was not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, you want what now, and how much is it? Yeah.
Yeah, those add up. They definitely do. I'm on the opposite side, where I have too many consoles and too many things sitting around. between the new stuff, the old stuff, old Nintendos, old PlayStation, games and bits and things everywhere. My wife probably hates it. How was the internship? Like, would you recommend it to other people? It'd be like, hey, if you want to work in games, like.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's funny too, because it wasn't a question. I was like, you should always answer this positively. But it just came to me, and I was curious, like, how your experience with that went, and like, because I know Alec puts a lot of things together with Obsidian University and making sure you all are together and getting like workshops and things like that. So.
Yeah, so definitely, if you ever get a chance to do an internship, like apply for it, like go for it. It's a great way to get your foot in the door, and not to say that there's not pressure or anything. It's truly like a learning experience. And then like with Alec making these events, we have like Fridays, and it's not going to be the same for every studio, so it kind of just depends on where you're going. But usually I feel like if you're doing an internship program, there is these events that are planned out for you. So every Friday we do like an intern game night. Sometimes we go out for lunch together, and it's just like a great way to bond with other people, even if you guys all don't get the position, or if you decide like, oh man, I really like doing the internship at this company, but you know, maybe I want to go to some other company, right? It's a great way to not commit yourself to a position or a company, but still get that experience in and like meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
So it's just definitely, if you have the opportunity to do an internship, go for it.
What do you think set yourself apart from other candidates? Because we had a lot of people apply for every one of these internships.
Yeah. So I actually ran into the recruiter at GDC.
Oh, okay.
So I was supposed to go to GDC in 2020 with Game Dev Nights, which is a game design like club, and you don't have to only be game design to join the club, but at our university. And you know, obviously the pandemic happened, GDC got pushed back like 2 years. I still had the ticket because it's still qualified. So I also had the airline credit as well. So it's like, why not? So I went there, went to one of the expos, and I honestly wasn't really going there to look for a job. It's just more so for the experience, because it was like 2 years after college and whatnot. Ran into the recruiter at the very first expo of the first day and got to talking, said where I went to school, what I was working on, and he mentioned, yeah, do you know this person? I'm like, yes. And then he goes to say, do you know this person? I'm like, yes. How do you know these people? Because they're all like, I'm here in like San Francisco and you're naming people I went to school with in Orlando, like, excuse me?
Yeah.
And mentioned that one of them works here, and they were hiring for a technical animator position. So that kind of like cut out the application process. I still had to do the interview and everything, but I guess to say like what separated me, I don't know, like everyone can say they're passionate about their stuff. So.
Yeah, everybody does, and then that's like, oh, so it's like a line you just fill out, right? Like it's, excuse me, like a mandatory thing, right? You'd be like, I'm passionate about this, but.
Yeah, so I would like to think that like when I say I'm passionate about something, I truly do mean it, and I hope that shows when I talk about the things that I love to do and everything. So, so maybe it's that, or I also did talk about my hobbies, so me going to concerts and whatnot. So maybe that helped. But yeah.
If you could give advice to somebody applying for an internship here, what would you tell them?
Do your research, like learn up on the company.
Smart.
See what games they've made. You don't have to play them, but at least like look into them. What else? Like check out if they have any mission statements. That's really important to me. It might not be important to you, but it does make a good like talking point.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I do is I always look to see if a company has oh, I have to in-jog. Okay, great. I always like to see, like, does the company have like any mission statements? What's your culture like? What are you guys doing? So I like try to look at more than just what the games that they made, because obviously anyone can like look up like, oh, what games they've made. But if you do a little more research, it kind of shows that you're a little more interested in the company than the average person who's just chucking their application in. And just be authentic. Like obviously, having a great resume, having a great cover letter. Like, you want to make sure that all the grammar's there and everything's formatted and whatnot. but also like have a great personality. Don't be a butthole. like be yourself.
That's the stream highlight title of this when it goes on YouTube. Don't be a butthole.
Like be yourself. Like, you know, I'm sure like everyone here, like anywhere you go, they want to work with someone authentic. Like don't put a disguise just for the interview or just to impress people, because if you can't keep that disguise up.
It's a really good point, because I mean, as you know, like you probably did 3 sets of interviews, right? About?
I did 2.
2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we usually do about 3, and we all talk afterwards and go over it, and we're like, oh, they said this.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, well, that wasn't really right. Like, you know? So I think authenticity is really important, because the other thing is, if you do put on this facade and that you're going to work somewhere and then you're not that person, they're like, what the, who is this?
Yeah.
You know, and then especially if you are in a line, you're like, oh yeah, I do this and I do this, and you're saying what they want to say, and then, hey, do you want to do that? You're like, well, I don't know anything about that. You know, it's a bad look.
Yeah.
And I definitely think how you pointed out research is really important. Showing an interest in the company that you're working for goes a long way.
Yeah, for sure. It does. And then sometimes you do the research and you're like, you make great games, but there's nothing here for me. Like, you're not presenting anything about your company that's of interest of me wanting to work there. So, yeah. So sometimes, because like the thing that I feel like when you're coming out of school and you're applying for a job that most of us don't realize is like we're not like products that we have to sell ourselves to the company. Like it's us too. Like the company, like it's not to say like the company should put on their best efforts to make us want them, but it goes both ways.
Well, no, I mean, you're absolutely right, because that's why companies offer things as well, right? Like if you work here, you get this, and this. And I think especially with this internship program, you get that as well, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's a give and take, right?
Yes, it
like
is.
You want to be a good match and good personality fit and things like that, but then you also, each side has needs.
Yes.
It's a perfectly reasonable and valid thing, I think, completely. Thanks again so much. It was a lot of fun. Thanks for sharing about your job and your internship and this game that people seem to really dig.
Yes. Yeah, definitely go check it out. If you guys are at all interested, like it is pretty fun. Probably going to play this later today.
Nice.
Yeah.
I look forward to hearing about it.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. We'll see you guys later.